Most welcome to Historiaspanarna, History Reconnaissance. This time we have some great images of US flying cadets training for war. The scenes of training on the ground and in the air are mainly from Hancock College of Aeronautics in Santa Maria, California. This is really great color footage showing the cadets from arrival in training and graduating. In the final part there are also some scenes from the Air Corps Training Center at Randall Field in Texas. And please, like, share and subscribe. It means a lot to us. Crisis deepened, the Army planned for ever-increasing number of pilots and fundamentally changed the Flying Cadet program. By March 25, 1941, almost 9 months before the American entry into World War II, Congress authorized the production of 30,000 pilots annually with over 100 training bases. The Army Aviation Cadet Act, signed on June 3, 1941, created the grade of Aviation Cadet as a substitute for the grade of Flying Cadet, established 22 years earlier. Cadets agreed to accept commissions as second lieutenants in the Air Corps Reserve and serve 3 years on active duty upon completing of training, unless released from service by the War Department earlier. At the end of the 3-year period, officers would be promoted to first lieutenant, again in the reserve. In November 1942, the active duty commitment was extended so that enlistments lasted for the duration of the war plus 6 months. In Santa Maria, California, at the present location of G. Allen Hancock City College, was then the Hancock College of Aeronautics. The college started to train pilots for the Army Air Force in 1939. The college was originally formed in 1928 by the Los Angeles businessman Captain G. Allen Hancock. In May 1939, with war on the horizon, General Henry H. Arnold, Chief of Army Air Forces, gathered 8 operators of training schools like Hancock College and requested that they begin to train pilots for the Air Corps. On July 1, 1939, 40 cadets arrived at Hancock College. In the following 5 years, some 8,500 pilots and 1,500 mechanics were trained by Hancock College. A number of these pilots flew B-25s on the Colonel Dolittle raid against Japan in April 1942. The College of Aeronautics consisted of administration buildings, hangars, classrooms and barracks clustered along the edge of a paved taxi strip. There were no paved runways. About 400 acres of flat grassy fields next to the taxi strip provided ample room for training and practice in takeoffs and landing by the rookie pilots. Most basic training at Hancock College used Stearman PT-13s and the Ryan PT-22s. The Boeing Stearman PT-13 was the original Army version of the aircraft. It was first ordered in 1936 and powered by a Lycoming R680 engine. A total of 1,267 PT-13s were built. The PT-22 was a monoplane trainer developed in 1941 from the civilian Ryan ST series. The pilot training program constantly evolved to match students' throughput to the needs of the Air Force, while maintaining quality. Briefly outlined, pre-flight training introduced students to the military and helped prepare them academically for the flying training program. In January 1942, the Army Air Forces abandoned the requirement that cadets in the flying programs had to have 2 years of college experience. Aviation Cadet Examining Boards administered a 3-part battery of tests, in addition to a rigid physical examination to help identify those who might make the best pilots, navigators and bombardiers. A psychomotor test measured eye-hand coordination, reflexes, ability to perform under pressure, and visual acuity. Finally, the candidates underwent an interview with a trained psychologist. In July 1941, officials outlined 3 general classes or tracks for aviation cadets: Aviation Cadet, Pilot and Bombardier, Aviation Cadet Navigator, non-pilot flying, and Aviation Cadet Ground Duty as meteorologist and engineer. In actual practice, by the fall of 1941, the Aviation Cadet ground duty courses varied in length from 10 weeks to 9 months, while pilot training lasted about 7.5 months. While thousands of pilots were trained at Hancock and went on to fly the latest fighters and bombers, they were trained by dozens of old cloth-wing, barnstorming pilots, called out of business or retirement by Hancock. These people taught for years at Hancock, and many were then introduced into the Army Air Corps and flew transports, bombers or fighters in both theaters of World War II.
That's all folks. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.